is Laura from Doggy U, and I'm here today with Bill DeMaio, who happens to be my father, and we're going to be talking today about the difference between using a cane and using a guide dog. Now, a guide dog is within the service dog realm, is a dog that's going to help lead or guide a person who is visually impaired. That means that the person is responsible for navigation and the dog is there to help get them there safely. So today we're going to talk about the differences between using a service dog or a guide dog for that task versus using a cane, which is another piece of adaptive equipment that you can use to get around when you're visually impaired. All right, Dad, so thanks so much for coming on Doggy U. And why don't you tell us a little bit about what it's like to use a cane?
Okay, well, I brought my cane with me. It's a collapsible cane, and it unfolds like that. And you use it, it's a tactile type of thing. So what happens is the cane and the guide dog are two very different things. The cane is tactile, and what you're doing is you're almost bouncing or knocking into something. You're feeling out what it is, you discover what it is, and then you go around it. So giant difference compared to the guide dog, where the guide dog looks way ahead, finds out what's in your way, and moves you slowly around it. So, for instance, I always tell people, I come out of my garage door down the driveway, and I take the cane and you go tap, 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 and you follow the edge of the driveway, and if there's a garbage can at the end of the road, in the corner of the driveway in the road, you bump into the garbage can, you determine what it is, and then you go around it. Very tactile. The guide dog that I use goes out of the garage and looks 30 yards ahead, sees that there's a garbage can, and walks me slowly around the garbage can, so I might not even know I went around it because we don't bump into it. So cane is bumping into something, finding it out. Guide dog is go around it slowly, and they use their eyes, and it guides you safely around obstacles.
Okay, and which did you learn to use first?
Well, first of all, before you get a guide dog, they make you learn how to use a cane and get your mobility skills, orientation and mobility skills up to speed. So you always start off with the cane first. That enables you to get a guide dog.
So tell me a little bit more about what are orientation and mobility skills.
Okay, that is really skills that you develop and get better at and better at as you use them and experience it. But for instance, you need to know direction, right? North, south, east, and west. You need to know where the edges of roads are and sidewalks. And what you start to use is your other senses, like for instance, hearing. What I do is I can even listen to the tapping of my shoes for the heels touching the sidewalk. When I'm underneath an awning, say for instance, at a store, on a sidewalk on a main street, I can kind of hear the little bit of an echo. So I know that I was underneath an awning. So as I pass it, I sometimes count to myself 30 steps past the awning. So when I turn around and come back, I can kind of hear it again, and it gives me a cue of where I am. So you use your hearing is very, very important. For instance, when you get to intersections on roads, you're listening to which way the traffic is moving. You try to determine if it's 1 lane or 2 lanes or 4 lanes, right? So it's double lanes. Mm-hmm. Or you also try to figure out if cars are taking lefts and rights. So are you at a crossroad? Is it a T type of intersection? Or what kind of intersection is it? So your hearing is very, very needed in regards to both the cane and the guide dog. You always use it, and that's why you don't like to block your ears with any kind of sound devices.
So you're using it for both, because a lot of people think that guide dogs are going to basically take you wherever. You don't need to know where they're going. The guide, you're going to just pick up the handle and the dog is going to go. But that's not the case, right?
No, it's not. But I always say it's a 50-50 dance, right? I try to tell the dog as much as I know about the environment, but if I'm in a location where I don't know anything, I say to Lyric or to Isaac, I say, find inside, find the door, and they'll find the closest door, and they'll find the easiest, most safest direction of the handicap ramps or etc. like that, but they don't know exactly. The key is the dog has eyes, the cane doesn't. So that's where the dog gives you so much more freedom and independence, because it's giving you that 50% that they can see where the cane can't.
So it sounds like you like using the dog more than the cane.
I do. I have nothing against my good friends that use canes, but I love the guide dog. It just gives you so much more ability, freedom, independence, moving around. When you get lost or when you feel like you're disoriented, the dog will always bring you home. If you go somewhere one time, the dog will always remember where it's coming back to.
Yeah, and a cane can't do that.
No.
Though there's a lot of adaptive technology that's coming out with canes, with being able to do overheads and all sorts of different GPSs that can help with that if you're using a cane.
Yes.
But as well as a dog.
Yes.
Right?
I use Microsoft Soundscapes, and I tell all my friends that are blind, I said, you have to use Microsoft Soundscape. You keep it in your pocket, and it will determine beacons. It will help you determine what road you just passed. It'll say upcoming is Burden Lane, or take a left on Nutmeg Lane. So it's really helpful, when you're really not you're in a new city or a new location and you don't know where you are. It's just a wonderful security blanket to add to the cane or to the guide dog. And that's what I always say is use as much as you possibly can. Whatever tools are out there, put them all together and see how successful you can be.
Now, what about for using a guide dog? Now, you said you like them because you like to be able to move more seamlessly around. Are there any other benefits for using a guide dog?
I think the guide dog provides CSS. It provides a companionship that I never really underestimated that before I got a guide dog.
Mm-hmm.
Companionship is so critical, it's unbelievable. The other thing is security. When you're in a new city or in a tough location, when you have a cane, every day of the year a blind person is hit over the head and they steal their pocketbook or their wallet in this country, which is very unfortunate. It's less likely when you have a German Shepherd by your side. So it's kind of like the parting of the Red Seas. People, instead of coming close to you, they certainly move away. And I love that part of it. So that's CS. And the last S stands for sociability. Oftentimes I found with the cane, it was almost like I had the bubonic plague. I would be at a doctor's office and I'd sit down and people would literally get up and move away from me. Mm-hmm. And it was so disheartening because I'm a social type of person. Mm-hmm. So when I got the guide dog, I went to the same doctor's office, I'd sit down and everybody would talk to me. They would tell me about their dogs. They have a fat dog, a small dog, a smart dog, a dumb dog. So they're starting to talk to you again, and sociability is really, really good with a guide dog, and it really opens up conversation. So I call it a social magnet, right? Mm-hmm. People start to talk to you because everybody can relate to a dog, and they feel much more comfortable than being with a cane. Mm.
Now, what are the disadvantages to using a guide dog instead of a cane?
Well, you can't underestimate the work that goes into having a guide dog.
Yeah.
You have to brush a guide dog and feed a guide dog and take it to the bathroom and bring it to the vet and give it pills and all kinds of things. Where the cane here, you don't have to brush it, you don't have to take it to the vet, you don't have to take it to the bathroom.
You just pick it up and go.
You just pick it up and go, fold it up, put it in your briefcase, whatever you need. So, of course, there's so much more involved in a guide dog care, but in my mind, and in many people that have guide dogs, they certainly wouldn't give it up for anything in the world.
But it's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle change, for sure.
Totally. Is there anything else we should know about using a cane versus a guide dog?
No, I think it's just a freedom. I guess, yes, I do think something. The cane going on a sidewalk, when there's cracks every 6 feet or whatever, the cane sometimes will stick into your stomach, and it's very painful, and it's uncomfortable and slow moving. Where a guide dog, if you're an athlete and you're used to running and walking fast, the guide dog just lets you fly. You could really take off and go at your fastest speed that you're available or able to do, and I feel that makes a big difference also.
That's great. All right, well, thanks so much for coming on to talk about the differences between a cane and a guide dog. I really appreciate it.
It was my pleasure.
Yeah. So we're going to do a couple more videos like this. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. We do new videos every week. We're going to be doing some more videos on guide dog users and service dog users in general, so you can get an idea of what that's like. If you have any comments or questions, make sure you put them down below. I do answer all of my comments, or if you have video topics that you'd love to see, go ahead and comment below. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day and happy training.
Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for our next video. Subscribe now and never miss an episode.
Well, thank you so much for coming on to talk about the differences between using a cane and a guide dog.
It was my pleasure.